Welcome back, focused learners. Today, we're diving into something that perfectly blends creativity with a little bit of technical magic. We're breaking down the complete anatomy of a viral aesthetic vlog. You know all those shaky, random smartphone clips currently sitting in your camera roll? Yeah, we're going to transform those into polished, cinematic mini-vlogs with a super clear structure. If you've ever found yourself scrolling and wondering why some creators' day-in-the-life stories look like actual, literal movies, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We naturally assume that an aesthetic vlog is all about, pretty visuals, right? Well, not exactly. Take a look at creator Jenny Hoyos. She made this video answering a super random question. Could she cook a homemade burger faster than going through a fast food drive-thru? Now, I know what you're thinking. That doesn't sound very aesthetic. But guess what? She pulled in over 45 million views. 45 million! Why? Because a true aesthetic vlog actually starts with a captivating story, not just pretty colors. Does it matter that her burger was basically raw by the end of it? No way! Absolutely not. Viewers stayed hooked because the narrative was just that engaging.
To help you create your own masterpiece, we're going to follow a step-by-step masterclass pipeline today. We'll start with the ultimate storytelling formula, then move on to essential gear and settings, how to film your aesthetic shots, choosing your editing app, and finally, adding that perfect final polish.
Let's move to our first step and see how this builds. Section 1. The ultimate storytelling formula. Building the foundation of a 60-second viral hit.
So before you even touch a camera or even think about lighting, you absolutely need a plan and a theme. Creators like Kyla Low and Teresa from InVideo both hammer this point home. The foundation of a successful day-in-the-life story is knowing exactly what you're going to capture before the day even begins. Jenny Hoyos actually shared this brilliant 4-step framework in a TED Talk that literally keeps viewers hooked for 60 seconds. Here's how it works. First up, the hook. You ask a shocking question right out of the gate. Second, the journey. You show constant progression, so they simply can't look away. Third, the conflict. Now, in Jenny's case, it was the very real threat of setting her mom's car on fire and dealing with a raw burger in the passenger seat. I mean, talk about building tension. And finally, the answer. You deliver a fast, concise resolution. This structure right here, this is the actual backbone of your vlog.
Once you've got that structure dialed in, you need material. As Kyla Low shares, her golden rule is to capture more footage than you think you need. And honestly, there is no worse feeling, literally none, than getting all the way to your editing phase and realizing, oh no, I just don't have enough clips to tell the story. So always overshoot your daily activities. You can easily trim away the fat later.
Moving right along to Section 2, Essential Gear and Settings. This is all about setting up your camera for that cinematic sparkle.
Now, smartphones are incredibly powerful these days, and they're completely fine to start with. But if you want a massive advantage in achieving that truly aesthetic, dreamy look, upgrading to an APS-C mirrorless camera, something like the Sony ZV-E10 or the Fujifilm X-S20, is a total game changer. And this brilliantly illustrates why your lens choice actually matters even more than the camera body. Let's think about prime lenses, like a 35mm or a 50mm. These are your absolute secret weapons. They have these fast apertures like f1.8, which gives you that beautiful bokeh, that soft, buttery background blur that makes you pop right out from the background. It's gorgeous. Zoom lenses, on the other hand, well, they're flexible, sure, but they have smaller apertures, which result in a much plainer, flatter look. So remember, prime lenses equals cinematic aesthetics.
To make this super easy, the camera brand Hollyland put together a fantastic cheat sheet. Here's the thing. If you leave your camera on auto, it's just going to constantly shift around and totally ruin your visual consistency. Dialing in these specific manual settings instantly elevates your footage. First, set your frame rate to 24 frames per second to get that classic filmic quality. Next, keep your aperture low, somewhere between 1.8 and 2.8, to really blur out that background. You'll also want to keep your ISO low, maybe between 100 and 400, to prevent any of that grainy, weird digital noise. And finally, shoot in a flat or log profile. That's absolutely crucial for preserving your color details for later on.
Speaking of settings, there is one number you absolutely must remember: 180. This is the 180-degree rule. It's super simple, but so important. Your shutter speed must always be exactly double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, your shutter speed should be 1/50. This is what gives your movement that completely natural cinematic motion blur. Now, if you're outdoors and it's suddenly way too bright for this setting, don't change the shutter speed. Instead, just pop an ND filter over your lens. Think of it like a pair of sunglasses for your camera so you don't overexpose your shot.
Okay, let's talk about color.
A minute ago, I mentioned shooting in a flat profile. You might be wondering, why on earth would I want my video to look flat? Well, we do this so we can easily apply a LUT, or lookup table, during editing. Basically, think of a LUT as a magical color map. It locks in this cohesive, signature color palette across all your clips. With one click, you can instantly map warm amber tones for a super cozy lifestyle vlog, or maybe cool blues for a sharp urban travel story. It is hands down the fastest way to unify your whole aesthetic.
All right, on to Section 3, filming your aesthetic shots. We're talking light, composition, and crystal clear audio.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the fun part. It is so important to realize that true aesthetics aren't just something you slap on at the very end with a trendy Instagram filter. No, they are created by making clear, intentional choices while you are actually out there shooting. These simple compositional rules will instantly upgrade your random clips into structured, purposeful art. First, use the rule of thirds to avoid those boring, dead-center static shots. Look for leading lines to draw the viewer's eye and create depth. Don't be afraid of negative space. Leave some open areas to give your video a calm, editorial breathing room. Throw in some foreground elements, like maybe a blurry coffee cup right near the lens, to create 3D layers and separate your stuff from flat smartphone clips. Oh, and please, whatever you do, look directly at the camera lens, not at yourself on the screen.
So, in between those talking head shots, you're going to need B-roll. And let me be clear, B-roll isn't just filler. It is the vital connective tissue that makes your vlog's world feel fully realized. As a creator, you should plan for about 3 to 5 B-roll shots per location. And here's a pro tip. Don't just film a wide shot of an empty room. Get in there. Focus on close-ups, hands typing on a keyboard, coffee steam rising from a mug, the rough texture of a brick wall, or just the way the natural light hits the architecture.
When you're out there filming that beautiful B-roll, I want you to keep the number 10 in your head. This is the 10-second rule. Always hold the camera steady on each clip for at least 10 full seconds while filming. I know, it feels like a long time in the moment. And sure, when you get to editing, you might only use like 3 seconds of it. But having those full 10 seconds guarantees you have clean cuts, smooth motion, and plenty of room to trim exactly what you need.
Next up, lighting. Lighting is your best friend, and you definitely don't need a crazy expensive studio setup to get it right. Notice how front lighting gives you this very even, flat exposure? That's great for bright, high-key looks. But side lighting, positioned at 90 degrees to your subject, that is what creates shadows, dimension, and that moody, cinematic feel. Try to use the golden hour sun, or just sit at a 45-degree angle to a large window indoors. You can even use overcast, cloudy days as a giant, natural light diffuser. It's basically nature's softbox.
So, the crucial point is this. Viewers will absolutely tolerate slightly blurry video, but they will instantly, and I mean instantly, click away from bad audio. You've got to ditch the tiny on-camera microphone. It just picks up wind and echo and sounds awful. Instead, grab a wireless lavalier. Something like the Hollyland LARK M2 is highly recommended. I mean, this thing weighs just 9 grams, clips on like a little button, has a 40-hour battery, and captures completely isolated, professional voice audio even if you're walking outside in the wind. It's an absolute lifesaver.
Moving into the post-production phase, let's look at Section 4, choosing your editing app. Fast, aesthetic, scroll-stopping tools.
Okay, we've captured the magic, now let's build it. While creators like Kyla Lu often use desktop software like iMovie or Premiere, mobile apps have become insanely powerful for on-the-go creators. There is literally an app for every specific vibe out there. CapCut is the reigning king of fast-paced edits and trending TikTok templates. If you want professional multi-track timeline control right on your phone with 0 watermarks, you gotta go with VN Video Editor. If your aesthetic relies heavily on that dreamy Y2K look, retro film grain, or vintage glows, Prequel is your ultimate stylistic toolkit. For heavy-duty iPad users, LumaFusion offers true desktop-level precision. And hey, if you just need some snappy animated templates for Reels, Mojo's brilliant. Pick the one that fits your exact workflow and run with it.
Almost done. Section 5. The final polish. Audio pacing, quick hacks, and hitting publish.
We are finally at the finish line. This is where we bring the whole mini vlog together seamlessly on the timeline. Listen, music dictates the entire emotion of your vlog. You absolutely must match your music to your mood. Use royalty-free sources like the platform free to use to avoid those annoying copyright strikes. If your footage has warm, amber tones, pair it with some cozy acoustic tracks. If you've got cool, urban blues, pair it with chill lo-fi beats. And remember your pacing. Try to cut your clips on the beat of the music every 3 to 7 seconds. This keeps a dynamic rhythm and keeps the viewer deeply engaged.
Now, here is a phenomenal editing hack shared by Kyla Lou and Teresa that will save you tons of time. When compiling your timeline, reduce your very first clip's background volume all the way to 0. Then, just copy that clip, select all the remaining clips, and paste that volume adjustment. Boom! You just silenced all the messy background noise across your whole project in just 2 clicks. Now you have a perfect clean slate to record your crisp voiceover. And finally, always ensure your project is cropped to a vertical 9:16 aspect ratio before you hit upload so you don't get those ugly black bars on TikTok or Shorts.
And just like that, we've broken the whole shebang down. A viral, aesthetic vlog is never an accident. It's a system of really intentional choices, from that very first hook all the way down to the 180-degree rule. You now have the exact blueprint the pros use. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Look around your normal, everyday life. What hidden story in your daily routine is just waiting to be turned into a cinematic masterpiece? Go out there and start creating. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I honestly can't wait to see what you create.